Welcome back. One of the great things about the Clipsal 500 is a new innovation each year. There's always something for these massive crowds, and this year the new addition is just insane. I mean, you don't need me to tell you what's going on here. The stadium super trucks, they get high, they get wild, they get loose, and they come down pretty hard, and they're all thanks to the man who's just joined us, a man who spent 21 years in NASCAR Super Sprint Series, Robbie Gordon. It's great to have you here, and first of all, thanks for bringing those kind of scenes to Adelaide.
Well, thank you. You know, it's I started racing in a series like that. It used to be called Mickey Thompson Off-Road back in the day. And, you know, when I finally looked at my NASCAR career, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? I'm 44 years old. What do I want to do next? And stadium trucks is what I set out to build. You know, we did the Polaris Razors. Yeah. And when I finished up with the Razors, it's all right, let's build a little truck racing class, because in America, 60% of the cars sold are trucks.
So that first love of yours of off-road racing, which came through your dad as well, what you just decided, I'm going to take off-road and put it on-road, take it down here, throw in ramps and just cut loose.
Well, it started at Long Beach Grand Prix. We had a stadium event that was going to happen at LA Coliseum, and I talked to a buddy of mine, Jim McKillian, that promotes the Long Beach Grand Prix, and he's like, hey, bring the trucks out, do a little demo. We took the trucks out with metal jumps, and it was just awesome. And it's like, all right, well, we need to be doing more of this. So they're interesting little vehicles. They're very fast, very powerful. They're really small.
What's the horsepower, mate?
650 horsepower, 800 pounds. I believe if you put V8 supercar tires on them and lower them down, we'd probably be lap times of a V8 supercar. You know, they make tons of power, and they just run on big, heavy tires.
There's a speed comparison that we have to have. I mean,
might have to do that, huh?
Yeah. Your eyes were popping when you were checking that out. You ever seen anything like it?
Incredible. I mean, what Robbie's done over the years on a sprint car, Indy car, Parry-Dakar, you know, just, mate, so versatile. It's incredible what you've done over the years, and to bring them here. But actually, they just do a shortcut, mate, anyway. If they can't do the lap time, they'll just jump a fence, won't they, or not?
Yeah, I mean, that's if you get hung up, you just cut the corner out. No, but it's you know, it was made to race initially in stadiums like you see there with LA Coliseum, but the street circuits have been really fun, and so more than half of our races are on street circuits. We've got a relationship with X Games where we run them at X Games. Half the racetrack's on street, half of it's on dirt, and it's they're a challenge to drive. When I designed the car, I made it where it was difficult to drive. It's 105 inches long, and it's only about 72 inches wide, so it's a tiny little car in actual space. Probably smaller than what you were talking about racing over at Gold Coast and at Formula Ford. I bet it's smaller than a Formula Ford as far as the square box would be.
No, they look super compact, and they bounce well on the roof too, don't they?
They bounce well all over.
We had one roll over today, and they're like, oh, he's done. I'm like, no, he's not done. Put him back in there. He can keep going.
I thought a second guy was just going to come around and sort of just tip him back over.
Yeah, maybe that's what we should have done.
Yeah, I was hoping someone.
Yeah, I jumped out to try to help him. I figured I'd be the easiest one to help him get it back over. And they're like, what do you mean push it over? I'm like, just push it over. It's going to be okay.
Yeah. Here we go.
There he goes right there. And I'm like, you know, just roll him back over. He'll be fine. But unfortunately,
he turned into it, didn't he?
He just clipped that inside curb and didn't steer out of it. Yeah. But as you can see, there you got me pushing the thing back over. But another one of the drivers, it's like, no, he's fine. Let him go.
Yeah, mate, it cracks me up. You're forever young in racing. You're a bronze medalist at an X Games from last year, but you've got a great history that goes back here in Australia to, 1993 when you were driving Indy cars up on the Gold Coast?
Yeah, you know, what was it? In '93, I had a gnarly battle with Nigel Mansell. Yeah. That was his first year over from Formula One to IndyCar. I finished on the podium I finished second between him and Emerson, and it was cool to race against top quality drivers like that. Yeah. And then obviously do an interview sitting here next to Mark's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah,
hey, cool. Obviously Marcus Ambrose, the first thing that Robbie said when he came and sat and joined us here was, you know, how did Marcus go on the timesheets there? You've been following Marcus's career over there over the last 10 years. What do you make of this transition and this new era for Marcus to come back?
Well, you know, it's you can kind of look at Marcus coming back here. It's cool that he brought Roger and Tim with him. Those guys are expert operators in motorsports, and obviously V8 Supercar is different than what Penske has done in the past. But don't forget, Penske started in sedan kind of racing with Mark Donohue back in the day. You know, so he knows those, I think, were called Trans Am cars back in the day. But Marcus is a great road racer. You know, I think until he came to the States, I thought I had everybody covered on road courses, and he was my my toughest competition for sure. And you know, he's going to be fine here. It's going to take him a little while to get the feel of the car, but you know, he's just second off, and like Mark said, you know, that half a second is a mile, it seems like, but he'll catch on. He's fine.
Hey, Robbie, it's great to see you. Thanks again for bringing the Stadium Super Trucks our way. We've absolutely loved him. You're the Minister for Mayhem at Clipsal 500. I love it.
Well, I hope that's a good thing and not a bad thing. But, you know, I want to thank Clipsal for inviting us and bringing us over and doing all the hard work they have to get us here. You know, I think when Cams first started looking at the cars, and they're like, what are these and why do you do that? And it's like, it's going to be okay, don't worry. They were panicked. And then I did a couple two-wheel sessions from like, no, cars drive on four wheels, not two. I'm like, no, these drive on two wheels. It's going to be okay.
Yeah. Mate, we love it. Thanks. You. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Robbie Gordon, who's got the Stadium Super Trucks here at Clipsal 500, all part of the colour and atmosphere. Stick around. More after this on your home of Big Event Motorsport.
You want motorsport? You're in the right place. Follow our man Dan as he bids for Formula One glory. It's Ricciardo's third win in 6 races. Jack's back, but this time he's racing the big boys at MotoGP. And follow every round of the V8s. Look at that! Big contact this time. If that's not enough, RPM is back. Sundays from 4 till 5. Network 10, your home of Big Event Motorsport.
I'm in the V8 paddock with Tim, who's from Darwin, and you travel around Australia to watch V8s.
Yes, I do.
I love your commitment, and what I also love about you is having a bit of a chat here today. I've learned that you can do a lot of sound effects.
That's correct.
Could I request a V8 sound effect?
Yes, you may.
Could I request a drag car sound effect?
Yes, you may.
Could I request you clean my microphone? All right, this is out there. Could I request a V8 crashing with a drag car? Okay, we're nearly done. I could do this all day. For no particular reason, can we go out on a feral cat? That's the kind of in-depth motorsport analysis you get with me, Sam Mack. Good on you, Tim.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of all that, but it was pretty good fun. Could I request a Formula One driver, just another one, to come into the studio and talk with us? Jean-Eric Verne, Ferrari test driver for this season, of course. Spent a few years at Toro Rosso, has come to join us. Good to see you, mate. Welcome to Australia.
Thanks.
Give us a snapshot of what you've been up to and what you're going to get up to before we get to Albert Park.
Well, I've been pretty busy. Obviously now working with Ferrari as a reserve driver, and as you said, in the simulator. So we've had quite a bit of work to do, and I'm going to have all the season, all the simulator work. So it's pretty exciting. It's obviously not as good as everybody would like to be racing, but I think for 1 year of Formula One, to be in this team, first of all, is a great honor, and then, you know, to be keeping up to date to the new technology and everything that happened on the technical side of the car is extremely interesting and good for my knowledge, and yeah, I keep learning.
Absolutely. Is this the busiest time for you as a test driver, as a reserve driver, leading into the season? Is this where you do all your hard work?
No, I think the whole season is pretty hard work, and I think we're going to have more and more to do in the simulator during the whole season. So I will say it's pretty consistent.
Mate, how's Seb settling in? And obviously big departure with Fernando, so Seb overnight literally, you know, change of the guard really there. How's it going?
Well, I don't know how was the atmosphere in the team when Fernando was there, but I saw Seb a few days ago in Barcelona, and he seems really happy to be in the team, and the work atmosphere is amazing at the moment, and I think they're really getting into a good spiral so far, and I think everybody is happy and pushing hard.
Yeah, you can see that from the testing times, mate, and also the way that the amount of laps they've been completing. It's been very, very efficient, isn't it? I've seen a few little Red Bull tricks already that Seb's sort of taken over from some of the operational things. So, yeah, I think it'll be interesting how those two go in terms of the dynamics, and they must be encouraged with the amount of laps they've been getting on the belt, because reliability will be crucial early in the season, I suppose. Yeah.
I think so far from testing we could see that it was good. Then from the performance side, I think we are, you know, keeping our feet on the ground, and and you know, we work on our side, and we will see where we stand in the first race. But at the moment, we don't have any big hopes. We're just you know, happy that the car has been running so good so far, and then from the performance we will see.
At this stage, boys, we're looking at 9 teams, 18 cars, maybe another car, the Marussia car, maybe back on the grid for Albert Park. So for 2015, everyone's going to say it's very similar, Mark, isn't it, to the Jamie Wing Cup question? How do you catch the guys who have been so dominant? So how do you guys reel in Lewis and Nico Rosberg?
I think they're still pretty confident that they have a good car this year, and I think they're still going to have a good margin ahead compared to the other competitors. They already had such a big gap last year, but you know, everybody has been working extremely hard to catch them, and it will happen sooner or later.
Daniel Ricciardo, now the team leader essentially at Red Bull Racing, with Daniel Kvyat alongside him, and Kvyat did most of the driving in the last test at Barcelona. Everyone wants to know, and you're going to get asked it a million times in the next couple of weeks, can he win the World Championship?
Well, it's a big call. I think Mercedes have got the upper hand at the moment and the high ground. I think that Renault themselves, as an engine unit and engine manufacturer supporting Red Bull Racing, they need to basically get their finger out and give more performance to the team. I think aerodynamically and operationally, Red Bull Racing are very, very strong. Daniel proved last year that he can do the job. John Eric and himself were very, very tight, obviously, together when they raced at Toro Rosso, and so it's, yeah, we'll see how it goes, mate. It's a long, long way to go, and for them, Mercedes also, mate, they could focus on this year's car early. They had such a big Constructors' Championship lead, and for them, you know, they could bail out even though the drivers were still massively, you know, game on. But when you get the Constructors' lead like that, you can really focus on the 15 car early, and that's not great for the opposition. Obviously,
you know, Red Bull are sitting there waiting and hoping that Renault get everything sorted in time for Albert Park. Do the other teams essentially think they will get it in time? I mean, do you think they'll be ready to go with a better power plant by the time you get racing in a couple of weeks?
Well, I think everybody will be ready to go for Melbourne. Then to be ready to go as quick as the Mercedes adapt, but I have no idea where Renault stands and where Mercedes stands. But from Ferrari, I think we've made a step forward, which is good. But then you know, it's difficult to make the comparison yet to the Mercedes as long as the first race did not happen.
The second practice at Barcelona, one of the big features there was your mate Fernando Alonso having an off and ending up in hospital for 3 days. He hasn't taken part in the third test overnight. Do we expect to see him? I mean, what's the intel, mate? Is he all right? Or?
I think the concussion will be the biggest thing. I mean, I think Fernando was knocked out in the accident. They're not quite sure why he made contact with the wall. I don't buy into the wind. I mean, the wind at turn 3 in Barcelona that McLaren have said why he lost the car. Yes, it can play a huge role, but you got Seb in his you know, conflicting information where Sebastian said it didn't look like Fernando was pushing that hard. You know, 150k roughly was the speed that Sebastian thinks he left the track at, which is slow. Car is not highly damaged. You know, we see the vision there. So it's an interesting place to make contact with the wall in terms of quite rare, and he's got reflexes like a cat to catch things. So I'm not quite sure. That's not a standard. He hasn't hurt his toenail. You know, leaving in a helicopter, you've obviously had something interesting happen. So I think test is good for him to miss. Concussion, you can't underestimate that, and hopefully in Melbourne he's there.
Yeah, look forward to seeing him there. Hey, Jean-Eric, the La Ferrari, which is the F1 demo that you're out here for Ferrari, the fastest ever one they've built, they're saying, 350 Ks, only 499 of them, and they're worth a couple of $1 million. There's no pressure when you're just steering one of those around for a bit of fun.
No, I think it's the greatest road car ever built, and it's just amazing. It looks like an LMP one made for road.
We've got the 918, mate, still the Porsche, haven't we? So
didn't make the test on Top Gear. Who won?
You're sitting next to Australia's biggest Porsche salesman right now. He'll flog you one. You'll have one by the time you leave.
You didn't want to take any luggage to Top Gear, mate, because there's no luggage space, is there? So yeah. It's not a very practical car.
Know it's an amazing car, really. It's great.
It's incredible. I love the criteria. I'll just run you through this. So bear with me for a second. To get one, to qualify to be in the running to get one of these 499 cars that's worth $2 million, you currently have to own at least 5 Ferraris. You've had to have purchased at least 5 brand new Ferraris in your time, and you must own a new Ferrari that you've purchased in the last 2 years. That allows you a ticket to the gate to say, could I please have one? Mate, I don't have one. You got one?
You've got to start somewhere, haven't you, mate?
For $2 million, yeah, you're starting one of those.
Yeah.
Mate, thank you so much for popping in. Hope you have a lot of fun in that $2 million car, and look forward to seeing you at Albert Park in a couple of weeks' time. Jean-Eric Verne, Ferrari test driver. Don't forget, you will see the Formula One Australian Grand Prix live and free right here on 10. Back at the Clipsal right after this.
If you're a die-hard V8 supporter but you need a little bit of a break from the track, then head down here to the Family Zone where there's plenty of fun to be had for everyone. Who said racing was just for big kids? I found a couple of die-hards here. Hey Mitchell, which racing car driver do you love?
Lounsey.
Lounsey! And why do you love Lounsey?
Because he's Australian.
Because he's Australian. Now, you guys have actually been to every Clipsal event since you were born, is that right?
Yes.
And what do you love about it?
Because it's fun.
All right, you know what? I think that's just about enough talking. You guys are interested in racing these cars, aren't you? Do you think I could join you? All right, here goes the real competition.
That's Nat Hunter out and about here at the Adelaide Parkland Circuit, where there's plenty to do for ages all across the board. So don't forget, we've got 2 qualifying sessions still to come for the V8 supercars. Already we've had 3 practice sessions today, with Rick Kelly leading the way in P1 for the Nissan Altima, Scotty McLaughlin leading the way in P2 for the Volvo S60, and Jamie Whincup returning to the top of the timesheets for the Red Bull Racing Australia Holden Commodore in P3. 2 qualifying sessions back to back. They'll set the grid for races 1 and 2 tomorrow. The first 2 races of 2015 and the first 2, of course, of the Clipsal 500. Support categories are always great here, and the V8 Utes always put on a show. So let's go racing with your commentators, Bathurst champion from last year, Paul Morris, and Chad Naylor.
So this is how they line up for the first race of the East Coast Bull Bars V8 Ute Series, and it's McNally and Walton off the front row. And something different this week, Paul, all the Holdens on one side of the grid behind McNally, all the Fords on the other side behind Walton.
Very tribal, so the tribes are going to go to war.
I like that. Marjoram, as a result of that, has jumped up 2 or 3 grid spots. He was the big winner out of all that.
Yeah, Ryle missing out, so he was fast, knocked back to 4th because of the qualifying order here.
He would have had a front row start.
Sure.
There's no points awarded in this race. This is a qualifying race to set the grid for the final 2 ones, which will be awarded 70 points each. Cam Wilson, I imagine he'd be a tired man after completing a 24-hour go-kart race.
Bash, up on the GC.
In order of raising awareness for Huntington's disease, which is something that claimed his father this time last year. He also rode off a ute in the qualifying session with Jordan Skinner this time last year. Thankfully, both Skinner and Wilson are ready to go on race day, something that they weren't ready for last year.
So the big thing is how people are going to be aggressive. No points on the line. As you say, it's just all for qualifying positions.
Lee Nicolau, he was suffering from awful understeer in his rookie season. We saw Phil Woodbury win the Wonder Paints Rookie of the Year award last year. Lee Nicolau, one of a couple of different rookies who will put their toe into the water in 2015. This guy got his breakthrough podium at this event last year. It's Craig Dontis, local guy who helps organise this event.
Yeah, very involved with the high-flying stadium trucks.
And that shows you just how organic these cars are.
The thing won't run without it. So.
These things are pretty close to what you can actually buy on the showroom floor. Andrew Fisher, who's had a change of team but keeps the same sponsor. The big fella upstairs is back for another big year with Andrew Fisher.
With him.
Hello, buddy.
How are you, mate?
One of 4 on boards that we can show you, and he's very relaxed ahead of what's going to be a big campaign in 2015. He's a former race winner here. Actually, he's won 3 separate races across the board. Turn 8, always a place to watch out for.
It is up to 180 Ks coming in there in a ute. Big heavy car, small tyre, maximum commitment. As Reece was talking about in qualifying, to go fast you've got to get close to the walls, and we saw that with him.
You're talking about a car that weighs over 1,800 kilos, has about as much downforce as a brick, to be honest. These things have no aero.
Very unique driving style to get the most out of the cars.
They've got a brake pedal which is more similar to that of a road car than a V8 supercar.
Yeah, so it still has a brake booster, all your standard braking components from the road car, and a big racing caliper and big race brakes on it. So very gentle pedal pressure required. to pull the car up. So it's different. You know, you think you push the pedal harder and the car's going to stop, but with this setup it doesn't. You just got to breathe on the brake pedal.
All they end up doing is just locking the tyres and skating on forward.
Lock the tyre up, lose the steering, and then end up hitting the very thing you're trying to avoid. So it's definitely a unique race car for sure.
And definitely a unique format this weekend, with all the Holdens on one side and all the Fords on the other, celebrating 15 years of Holden versus Ford in the V8 Utes. We will be seeing some new manufacturers come into the fray, kind of like we will maybe in the future of V8 supercars with the Gen 2 car, and rumours of other manufacturers coming into our sport as the windows go up and the heat rises.
Maximising the aero drag. Just wind the windows up.
It's about all the aero you've got, just winding the windows up. And it's going to be a hot day in the office for 8 laps around here. And reminding you that David Cedars was the man to beat last year. Yeah. I'll also throw this one at you, Paul. Last season, whoever won the first race won the round at every single race last year.
So the killer's determined to win this race. So obviously he's a statistics guy.
It pays to win the first race. Whoever won the first race last year would go on to win race 3. Hashtag V8C if you want to join in at home. It's time to go racing. The East Coast Bull Bars V8 Ute Series for 2015 is in the starters' hands. Walton to the left. McNally gets the jump on the Ford though. The Stratco Ute will lurch forward from the outside of row 1. He'll be a clear leader. It's a great start, Paul. On the way down to the centre chicane, Walton swings in front of his good mate and fellow Queenslander Royal Harris. A few guys are going to take the curbs. It's the obvious choice. Teammates battling for 3rd position. A couple of Erebus cars as everyone files their way through turn 1 cleanly.
Yeah, very clean start, so everyone knows they've got a long weekend ahead of them. Some great heads-up driving by the whole field.
That was Pretty going side by side with Kim Jane. Pretty, the event winner back here in 2013, as the Snake winds its way through. Peter Burnett looked to be making contact with someone up the inside at turn 5. Bit of a hip and shoulder. Fair bump play on. Feed the power on. Jump the curbs at 6. And here we go. In approach of 180 kilometres per hour. And it's Rhys McNally, the winner of Bathurst last year, needs to put his eyes down and focus on cold tyres.
He's committed. He's committed.
Love that shot. It's power and aggression on approach down towards turn 9. Anyone going to be brave enough to throw it up the inside? No. Andrew Fisher will. He's trying to make up a few more spots, and he's side by side with Peter Burnett a bit further back. Looks to be a clean lap so far. Adam Mardram is into 4th position. He started on the 2nd row. He remains where he started, and Royal Harris jumped up to 3rd.
So McNally's quick in spots, and the 2 Fords behind him are a little bit quicker in different areas, so you're seeing that sort of concertina effect. No one really having a dip here at the moment. Just trying to settle down, bring up the tyre pressures.
A change for Craig Dontis from Murphy Motorsport. He finds his way over to Erebus. Dontis ran wide and missed that camera that's sitting in the curb, and as a result he gets pinged for a curb hop.
Yeah,
down to the centre chicane.
So a few strikes on the curbs.
To be fair, he's in good company. He's not the only one. His twin brother also did it on that lap, jumping the curbs. They really are similar, aren't they? Oh, the back end steps out for Cedars and the Mango credit Holden, and as a result, a man who we fought with on numerous occasions last year closes the door. Ryan Hansford all over the back of the Commodore. We're not used to seeing Cedars running in Holden colours. He's finally made the changeover after finishing 2nd or 3rd too many times in the series. He's sick of it. He's hoping that maybe a Holden will reap some better awards. Man, a few guys having a wiggle through turn 8. But everyone survives. Down towards turn 9 we go, and up the inside. Not quite happening there for Nathan Pretty. So McNally's going to lead him home for another lap. It'll be the end of lap 4. And Walton's not going anywhere. The defending series champ chasing the guy that won the 2 championships before him.
Yeah, and Walton's just a little bit loose coming off the corner. That final little bit of power down. The car's a little bit loose, a little bit sideways. You just can't get off the turn. And McNally's loose on entry. He's actually using how loose the Ute is on entry to gain his speed, especially through turn 8. It's really worth having a look at.
These 3 just have knuckled down, and they're trying to stretch out that lead. Adam Mardram University of Western Australia student, doing a double degree. Make that a triple degree in racecraft, I reckon, this weekend. And he's really gained, I think, from having a guy like Dontis in the team and also Kim Jane. They can compare data.
It helps. It helps having some solid teammates around you, someone to gain off. Could be just a confidence thing, comparing data, having a beer after you go racing and just doing some bench racing and sorting out what you need to do for the next day. It is a team sport.
I might make mention of Jared McLeod also, who's fallen outside the top 10 now. He's racing with a bit of a sore thumb. I'll give you a bit more insight into that one later. You need a strong
Killer having a bit of a look. Had a little bit of a faint look. Ryle was ready to cover him.
Still thinking about it, but there's still not that much to play for. There's no points for this race, just grid positions. So you're going to be very careful if you are going to go throwing a move up the inside. Kim Jane's not had a great race. He started 10th, and here he is back in 14th, so he's lost a couple of spots. He's behind the youngest guy in the field. There's a difference. Kim Jane, who's definitely not a 17-year-old. And
Ryle's had another go. Same manoeuvre again.
Wow, McNally caught napping this time.
Yeah.
And that was a great move from Ryle Harris, the two-time champ, on a charge. He wants pole position. He was first here in 2009 in one of the races. Every year since, he's come second just about. So I'm pretty sure that he's sick of finishing second. He wants to grab more race wins. This might open up the door, though.
Yeah, Walton's looking racy too.
Oh, Walton.
McNally blocking, covering his line.
Oh, locking tyres, but everyone stays on track. This is really heating up. McNally looks to the inside. He gets caught on the wrong side. And now Ryle Harris is your leader. Tell you what, these boys are really brawling early in the weekend, considering there's no points up for grabs.
Well, the big problem with what McNally's doing here is actually driving off the racing line and getting, dirt on his tyres.
It was a rough year at the beginning for Ryle Harris in 2014, but to use another sailing term, he came home with a wet sail in a big way. 6 race wins from Sandown onwards after he made the change to Matt Stone Racing, away from Big Gun Motorsport, where he won his 2 championships. Walton has but one chance here if he can throw the same move that he copped a while ago. He's not close enough, though.
Not close enough. And the thing about Ryle's moves, the moves he did, they were precise, calculated. They weren't out of control. He was able to stop the car, get it turned. He's definitely the form guy here. I think the guy who wins the first race is going to be the man.
Checkered flag is out. The first race for the East Coast Bull Bars V8 Utes Series in 2015 is over. And Adam Marjoram comes home for a series best third. Congratulations to him, considering it was not even a reverse grid race or anything like that. He's done extremely well. And look at this, McLeod home for a top 10.
Top 10, awesome job.
That's incredible. He nearly cut his finger off the other day using a circular saw. He's driving with a lot of stitches in that finger. I won't go into detail because it's grim. And he had to drive himself to the hospital.
I saw that. I thought he saw his Facebook post.
Oh, it was just awful. And he's managed to bring it home inside the top 10. That is a superhuman effort from the son of the 1987 Bathurst champion. Wow. But Ryle Harris, though, is going to take centre stage. And remember what we said, race 1 winner goes on to win the round. And every single round last time.
And the way he won it, he's definitely got the fastest ute here today for sure.
His last race win here, 2009. And 6 years later, he backs it up. He's been finishing second in the last 4 years in the races here. He goes one better, and he'll earn himself, Paul, a front row start for tomorrow's race.
It's a nice place to be.
Best place to be. Craig Dontis also up there. He claimed a podium here last year in a different team. He and Marjoram, the first of the Holden's home. Mason Barberage, a 17-year-old, and he's there in 11th. That's a pretty great effort. Kim Jane started 10th, fell back to 12th. Charlie Kovac's a local driver. Also Jordan Skinner, local drivers here this weekend. And Reece McNally, the big story, started on the pole, would fall all the way back to 19th position. And I guess the good part will be watching him come back in tomorrow's race. Paul, thank you very much for joining us. I can't wait for race number 2 tomorrow.
Chad Nayland and Paul Morris taking you through the first race in the V8 Utes Series for 2015, and we'll follow their fortunes throughout the rest of the weekend and the rest of the year. Ryle Harris claiming the victory there. The Porsche Carrera Cups are still to come on the other side of this break as we get ready on your home of big event motorsport for the return of our Sunday motorsport show every week at 4 p.m.
Next Sunday at 4 p.m, RPM returns. Join Mark Webber, Mark Larkham and Bathurst champion Chaz Mostert We'll also chat with Aussie F1 star Daniel Ricciardo. Join us for RPM next Sunday at 4.